As people are looking for ways to help in the fight for racial justice, many are reaching into their wallets to provide support.
Making donations can certainly be very helpful to a lot of organizations that are on the ground trying to do work amid the Black Lives Matter movement and bringing change. But how exactly is your money being used, and what exactly of the cause is it going to support? Those are important questions to answer. To help us answer them this morning, Danielle Kane from the Better Business Bureau is joining us with some advice. Good morning, Danielle.
Hi, good morning.
So I think a lot of people right now want to do something. They want to feel like they can help, so they think maybe I should donate if I can't go out and protest. Where should people be looking to make those donations?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different websites where you can check and vet any charity that you're looking to make a donation to. It's not so much about where they need to look, so much as they just need to look. They can find that information, of course, on BBB's give.org, but there's other charity betters as too.
Yeah, and so what should people do, right before they pay or they do make that donation?
So the first thing I would advise people to do is understand what part of the Black Lives Matter movement you're donating to. There are so many different funds set up right now, so just ensure that your money is going where you intend it to go. Is it going to a bail fund? Is it going to a victim relief fund? Are you donating for policy reform or change? There's just a lot of different elements, and so that's the first piece of research that we think is really important.
We see in times like this, it's always so frustrating, the scammers and people with bad intentions who would try and take advantage of people who are looking to help and contribute. Is there anything in particular that pops up to you as a red flag if someone's soliciting donations, or if you see certain things that maybe that's not the best organization to contribute to?
Yeah, we do see scammers trying to take advantage of donations during this time. The main thing people want to look for is transparency on the charity website. Is there some sort of document or report or filing that shows their costs, the percentage of donations that goes to operational overhead versus boots on the ground? You're looking for that financial transparency when you're donating.
Yeah, because it is so important. A lot of these organizations do have social media pages. Is that really a good way for people to, keep updated with the organization and make sure that everything is legit by checking those social media pages?
Absolutely. I would check those social media handles, and I would also encourage people on the method in which they pay. A lot of social media accounts are promoting those quick pay apps like Venmo. And a lot of times those are fine, but people need to ensure they have the right handle so that Venmo money is going to the right place, because donating via Venmo versus donating a credit card is a little bit more risky if there was a mistake made.
Sure. Yeah, you don't have the same channels of recourse there. So
Right.
what are some other websites and supporting locations where people can go to double check that something's legit? I know you guys recommend Charity Navigator, which I've used before. I think they're great.
Yep. Charity Navigator is a great one. I would say because some of the Black Lives Matter movement charities are not 50c3s, BBB can't accredit them, has nothing to do with the legitimacy of the charity. It's just not a 50c3, which is within our policy. So you can go to give.org, but if you're not seeing the charity that you want on there, I would say the next best thing is Charity Navigator. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I would imagine a lot of the ones that have come out of this most recent movement are probably newer. And doesn't it take some time to get that accreditation?
It does. It does. And a lot of these simply just don't fall within that 50c3 category,
Hmm.
which is fine. It's just not the type that we then accredit. There's a lot of other ways to research them and ensure that this is a hardworking charity that's giving back to the community, that's really there for the cause. And ultimately, that's what you're looking for as these communities
Okay.
are hurting, is that your donation is just going to the right place.
Absolutely. Well, Danielle, we appreciate the advice this morning. Thank you so much, and stay healthy.
Yeah, you too.